Welcome to Breakfast with the Broker with Kevin West.
How you doing, Dave?
Good, how are you?
Good this morning. Oh, Dave.
Hey, that was great.
That was
Good morning. Now I'm ready.
No.
So, welcome to Breakfast with the Broker. Appreciate you joining here. And, they call you something like a team leader of the West team or something.
Yeah,
like
it
that.
crept out of nowhere over the last year,
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
And there's like all these little underlings walking by, and I'm like, who's that? He's on the West team. She's on the West team. He's on the West team. It's like 10 people.
Yeah, we went from Nicole and I, and my brother actually, and we grew to 10 people really quick. Seemed like every month we were putting someone else in front of you, Dave. Dave thought it was like just people wandering the office, but it was actually people on my team. So,
Casing it.
well, yeah, basically, yeah. But David asked me too. He's like, one of the things we wanted to talk about today is how we got from 0 to 10 in such an amazingly short time. And for us, it got to the point where the biggest thing is I thought as a team leader is learning how to let go of the business so that you can get more business. And for a lot of people, and we're all business driven, and I didn't like to give up a deal here and a deal there because I felt like I was just giving away money. But then I realized that I had to build the team so we can continue to grow and keep growing and service our clients. So
So what would be the biggest advice? We're talking about teams, and it seems like just about every day someone asks me, well, how do I start a team? Or how did you really just think about? You touched a little bit on it, but how did you think about starting that team, and what was the first step that you took?
we actually put the feelers out to some people in the industry, just saying that if you ever hear of anybody who seems like, I don't want to say they're lost because you didn't want the lost souls on your team, but people who were good people who were probably doing business, but they needed something to get you to that next level. And, whether that next level is just someone standing by them, whether it's someone just helping them through the door, but it actually worked out well. And, the people that we interviewed to come on the team, we found out there's a lot of great people out there that are individuals that really just need a little bit of help, and they can just flourish. They really can. So
yeah, no, and you guys have increased your business 35% year over year, and I'll tell you, obviously I've known you for a while, but I'm very impressed. Not so impressed in the fantasy football field, but
listen,
yep, football season's coming.
It's coming. It is.
So you did it a little differently when you started your team. Most people say, okay, the first thing you do is hire an assistant, right? And then you go and hire your buyer's agents. But you were very adamant in hiring your buyer's agents first and building that nucleus, and then hiring your assistant. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's like one thing that, and Dave and I, like you said, we've known each other for years. I respect everything he tells me, and I take a little bit from everybody and put it into my business. And no, I don't do it the normal way. Let's just say there's no right way or wrong way, but I had an idea in my head and I stuck to my guns. So, Nicole and I were talking about, how do we build this team? And everybody told us, well, first you have to do this, this, and this. And I kind of, went against the grain. And I said, I want to see if I can get this team to operate at the level I think it needs to. And we'll get an assistant afterwards, which everybody told me was the wrong way, but unfortunately or fortunately, it worked out in our favor where we put a lot of people out in front of us. We taught them how to do the business, and we taught them how to do it right, and in the essence of making sure they're getting their paperwork done on time, making sure that they turn in everything, how to talk to those clients, how to get those listings done. So then when it came to the actual hiring an assistant, the assistant was more there just to kind of organize it, and it kind of worked out well for us. It really did.
Yeah.
It could have gone wrong. But a lot has to do with who you hire too. So there was a lot of great people out there, and we just got lucky enough to get a few of them. So
no, very well, and one of the things, you're out there, you're talking to people. Obviously, you're building relationships, and the thing that I most admire about your team is that it really speaks to your core beliefs. It speaks to who you are as people, it kind of goes all the way, resonates throughout the team of all the people are really, really great, professional, and I don't know, nice people.
They are very nice people. They are. But they're not just, like you say, they just don't work with you. We go out to dinner. We go out and have fun on weekends with our people. It's really a core, and I think that, making it that way, in my opinion, it takes a lot of the BS, as I'd say it, at the workplace. So, it's like when you're working with your friends, I understand that there's got to be that separation, but when you're working with someone that you trust, and you do other things besides just real estate with, it makes the business a lot easier. It does.
It does, yeah. So you work with a lot of luxury buyers and a lot of luxury sellers. And, I've been harping on you from day one, even at the old office, and said, listen, we have a dress code here.
Yes, you do.
We do have a dress code here, don't we?
I don't know what it is, but you do have one. Yeah.
And somehow there's this exception to this rule, and we call it the Kevin West rule.
Yep.
No one else can wear shorts, but Kevin West, you can wear shorts. And tell us a little bit about, I guess the first impressions and how you just decided, almost it's a branding thing. I mean,
really
now if you don't wear shorts, you're wearing pants. I'm like, Kevin, put the shorts. I want to see your legs.
Right. I know. I didn't get him his tan this summer, but no. What happened was my background is back in. I was in the financial industry. I wore 3-piece suits to work every day. I understand. I own a tie. I really do, and I do actually own slacks and shoes. But when I got into this business, one of the things that I've always tried to do is make whoever's on the other side of the table with you be comfortable. When you sit down with someone in a suit and tie in a room, you feel like you're getting interrogated by the FBI. I wanted it to be, they don't have tie, no tie. So I wanted, my attitude was from a lot of, and I could go through my background, you understand why I come from a different, let's say grain, but I like to, when someone comes up to me, I want the barrier of the pretentiousness or just that first icebreaker. I want to get through that before we even start the business talk. And like you say, in the luxury market, it's a little different because there are a lot of luxury realtors out there, and a lot of them do wear suits and ties, and I respect them all. That's their thing. But I remember one time I was getting out of my car, and I saw their car pull up to me. They were getting out of a Bentley, and the husband got out, and he was wearing a pair of slacks and a nice shirt. The wife was wearing a nice dress, and they got to the front of the car, and he kind of went like this to his wife as they saw me, and I'm like, I got to ask him a question, the first thing. So I introduced myself, never met them before. And he goes, I go, what'd you kind of slap your wife cute for? He goes, because she told me to wear the slacks. And I'm like, and she goes, you're wearing shorts. And I said, well, is that okay? You're all right with that? He goes, no, I feel like I'm out with a friend. And I said, so we've built, this whole concept where, there's a lot of stress in buying a home, whether it's a $35,000 Century Village or if it's a $4 million or $5 million, which that day it was. And I don't want to say I roll the dice, but I think that when people realize that you're there and you're true and you're honest and you're showing them who you are, and it's a comfort factor. If you're comfortable in front of people, it kind of just overflows. So, a lot of our clients end up being even friends, so it's like, it is what it is. I mean, we enjoy our little bit more laid back, and no, not everybody on my team wears shorts, Dave. Don't worry. But it is. For me, it's a pure, it's a way of doing business. It is. So
no, good stuff. So getting into this, let's talk about maybe who your role models were. How you got into real estate. Who really helped you, mentor you, throughout your career, because there's always usually people that, when you think of a business career, you think of people that, oh, I remember my first deal with this person, or I remember my first deal with that person. Is there someone in your, background that really has helped you and mentored you, kind of thing?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, in real estate, Nicole being my wife, if you didn't know, Nicole and I actually, she got into it before I did. And she got her first listing, and I went to look at it, and I laughed because I was like, oh my God, we got to sell this house. It's ugly. And she goes, what don't you like about it, honey? And I'm like, it's ugly. I don't know. Well, I didn't realize the guy to the right of me was the owner. And he's like, well, what would you do different? And I said, to be honest with you, I'd probably landscape the front of the house to some extent. Well, Kevin ended up being a landscaper that week. And I actually got a check for $4,000 from him, and I actually landscaped the front of his house. And we sold it 2 days later. Nothing to do with the question you said, but what I understood from an old business, there's some people when I was in the investment world, and to be honest with you, it's how you treat people. And you wouldn't know who they are because, it's been 20 years since I've been in that business. But those are the people that have carried into this real estate business over the years. Now, since I've been here, I got to say, we were at a different firm before. you recruited us to come over, and we used to come and do fantasy football with Dave all the time. And he always used to yell at me, why am I not here? And I didn't really have a great reason until I started realizing that Remax was a better brand than where I was. And when I got here, I got to be honest with you, I mean, some of the things, and I look at everything. I look at everyone, I look at how they're working, and worth ethic is always what, I'd love to see. And to be honest with you, if I had to pick someone, and I know he's going to come in my office and give me a hard time today, is, if you put your nose to the grindstone and you rock in this business, you'll figure it out. Brian Bowles is someone I actually care about. He's a good friend of mine. And, I don't think I could do exactly what he does because he's got his own way of doing things. But if you ask Brian about a house, a property, an area, a street, and let's say his farm area, he'll tell you everything. And I think that's part of what I've tried to figure out how to do. Now, I'm a reel that shows and sells from Jupiter to Miami. It just happens to be I'm a big-time referral person. People give us referrals. I do know most of those areas. But what I've tried to do is really take some of the ethic that he's got going on, and anybody and everyone can learn from him, and just put it into your business. It's not going to be a perfect transition, but it is. If you can take a little bit from everybody, I think it's going to, make you better. And there's other people in this office too. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this show certainly isn't about this office
Right.
or what have you. It's increasing the professionalism throughout the real estate industry.
Right.
And whether it's Brian or you or other agents outside the office, we're always here to help.
Right.
So it doesn't matter whether you're working for Remax, you're working for Cole Banker, Keller Williams, Lang, whatever company that you do work for,
Right.
we want to collaborate because listen, realtors, are here forever,
Right.
or almost, some of them
some
we
of
feel like forever.
There are a few.
But, but buyers and sellers do
Right.
come and go, and we're looking, to create not just relationships with buyers and sellers, but we're looking to create relationships with other realtors because those are the ones who are going to sell your house, and it really is when you have a really good reputation and you're nice and as you said how you treat people with other realtors and you collaborate, they're going to want to sell your listing. So
Right.
it only helps your seller and it only helps your buyers when you know that the other person on the other side. So I love it. Obviously, Brian Bowles is also a phenomenal guy who I'm privileged to call a good friend as well. And he's very persistent.
Yeah.
And that goes in, if you do want to see Brian,
Right.
give a little plug. Listing Mastermind is coming up on August 24th at the Polo Club. It's from 4 to 6. And we have Brian Bowles, Mark Rucco, Carlos Aline, me, and Michael Nathanson, all on this panel. And, we're going to do like a rebar and they have some great insight. And if you are out there looking, tuning in, you're definitely going to want to be there. There's tickets for sale. I think there's only 10 left. All right, so there's only 10, and unfortunately, when they're sold out, they're out because the Polo Club has a room that could only fit 60 or 70 people. So we are there. If you want to come, I'd love for you to join us. So let's get into kind of the trigger words, right? So disruptors. I've asked other people and other agents, what they think of, how the disruptors are going to change the industry, or in the next 3 to 5 years, what's your outlook on the local real estate market?
I think that, in my opinion, in our area, we're a destination state. We are.
Mm-hmm.
May not hold true for other areas, but people are always going to come here, for whether it be for retiring, whether it's for business, whether it's just the weather, whatever it is, they're coming. And I think within our South Florida area, I think that the business in general, I think I think we've kind of plateaued a little bit now, but I think we're going to stay here for a little while. It's going to take some other catalysts in order for us to kind of take a bump in the road. And, in my investment world, bumps in the road aren't a bad thing. Bumps in the road are just corrections that create the ability to go higher. So, I think that maybe in the next few years we'll have a bump or two, but I still think, the market's, it's solid, it's strong. There's always demand. There's every time someone's coming, and leaving, there's always a buyer and seller. You know what I mean? So I think over the next 5 years, I don't think we're going to have any major distractions or disruptions unless there's something we don't know about. But I mean, you know, in reality, I think going forward, we should have a few little bumps, but you know, I think we should stay status quo, if not a little even higher. So
yeah, perfect. So you know, the last question I have to ask you this. You know, are you keeping David Johnson or not?
I'm probably going to keep David Johnson in the first round because Rebecca gave me the fifth pick. So, yeah. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining, and I appreciate it. You know, Breakfast with the Broker every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Surprise guest next Tuesday. And we have Amy Snook coming on and Nikki Klein coming on the following 2 weeks. So we're looking forward to it. Kevin West,
thank you,
team leader of the West team with Nicole West, who I adore as well. You know, maybe not as much since she's your wife.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
But no, she's phenomenal. So Nicole, you're watching. You know, you're basically the leader of this team. We just put Kevin as the figurehead.
Yep. We all know that too.
Thank you very much for joining, and I appreciate it.
You got it,
Kevin.
Thanks.
Take care.